Desa Dian Lestari. The second speaker is Lutfi Asagaf, and the third speaker is Dava Muhammad Rizkisya.
Okay, thank you. And who is the reply speaker?
For the reply speaker is Desa Dian Lestari, Miss.
All right. So yeah, wait. Okay. So all the teams already here, and judging today, my name is Ratno Anjani. My preference could be she or they, and I will be chairing this round. And I also have like one trainees here, so I want them to introduce yourself. So Judge Ainun, could you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, thank you so much for having me here. I'm here as a trainee, and I'd like to know more about debating. And good luck, everyone. Thank you.
All right, so everyone ready here? And before we start the round, we have two reminder. Number one, if you please use your own timer, but also we'll keeping on the chat if it is already 1, 6, and 7 minutes. So to make sure that everyone knows the time. And second of all, if you have any preference on accepting or offering POI, you can just say that before you start your speech, as well as your gender pronouns. So, for example, if you are prefer to accepting POI in a POI through chat or just by open the microphone, so please explain that before you start your speech so we will know your preferences. And the motions in this round we're talking about this house believe that the electric vehicles brings more harms than good. And I think without further ado, I would like to call upon the Prime Minister to open the case of the government.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes.
Um, I will start in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from the affirmative team. My name is Erika Sari, and today we're going to discuss about the trend of eco-friendly transportation recently becomes popular either in developed or developing country. The invitation of electrical vehicle has attracted the government to invest more in the producing electric in a big amount as a private and public transportation for people. For example, US has put around 100 electric charging stations, and Indonesia has established Indonesia Battery Holding as the state-owned enterprise specialist in producing the battery for electrical vehicles. However, some steps to produce and parts of electrical are harmful for the environment. It creates an alarm for us to reconsider that the electrical vehicle is actually bring some bad impact. In this status quo right now, every country is trying to develop it now, although there is a scientific proof that the electrical vehicle is harmful to many sectors such as environment, economy, and social life of people in both developing and developed countries. So our goal here, we want to show that the electrical vehicle brings more harm than good. Let's move to my own argument. Here, I have two arguments. The first is, as future of mobilization, electric vehicle is harmful to the environment. And the second one is, the use of electric vehicle force people in developing and developed country in consumer electricity. And here, my first argument. As a future form of mobilization, electrical vehicle is harmful to the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the electrical vehicles is using a battery to move it or use it, and battery is the type of the hazardous materials that it will cause the environment damage when it not renewable again. In the battery, there is a battery that is there is some material that's really dangerous for our environment. And the process of making electrical vehicles produce carbon that contributes to the global warming that now on is a big issue that we should against. Talking about global warming, it's more hurtful. Hearing about it day by day, it's more worse again, and it's really more that's now on our earth is more day by day, and all of the country in this world is trying to minimize the impact of global warming through many activities, such as we do the effort way to fight and minimize the impact of the global warming itself. And the other example is like we reduce the use of the plastic, and second is we planting more tree. That we know our tree is decreased like every single day. There is always a decrease of the tree, and the fourth is we making agreement between developed and developing country to do cooperation. If we know want to against the global warming, it seems like make all of what we have done is useless. To solve the problem of the global warming, we must do a simulationist action. However, the existence of electrical vehicle opposes the all effort to stop the global warming. And the second one of my argument is the use of electrical vehicle force people in developing and developed country to consume more electricity. We all know that, ladies and gentlemen, that the people of the modern era, they have a high mobilization for different activities that they are really like to go to the many places, such as they invite their family to doing a recreation, to go to zoo, to go to their hometown, and it's always increase in the big day like Idul Fitri, Idul Adha. People always have do the routinity to go the hometown. That's a really far, and we all know that the high number of private vehicle. This case becomes worse in the developing countries because it is overpopulated with high number of private vehicles, and electrical energy in developing countries is generated mostly with coal and fossil fuel. Although there are some efforts to generate the electricity from renewable energy such as wind, geothermal, water, solar panel, and planetization. With those numbers are not equal with the electricity necessary from the people. They almost rely on electricity for different daily activities such as light, entertainment, cooking, sanitation, and many of the other thing. When this happens, the use of oil and coal to generate electricity will also increase significantly. So, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the people on the modern era now is really like to go anywhere. Like they are always using they are not using the public transportation, but they use the private transportation that will be increase the number of the harmful of the environment. So with this my second with my this both of my argument, I believe that the electrical vehicles is bring more harm than good. I think that's enough for me. Thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you for that speech. And I forgot to also remind you guys to keep on your camera if you are speaking, especially. And I also so sorry for not turning on my camera because my device camera is broken. So let us continue the debate. I call upon the first speaker of the opposition team to open their opposition case.
Thank you for the opportunity. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, transportation is one of the important things in the movement of people and goods. This transportation has long been used to relieve humans. To make it easier, transportation continues to develop so that everything is more efficient. Initially, transportation was in the form of wood carving and then developed into process with iron, which is we use until now. But it didn't stop there. The concern about the losses caused by gasoline-fueled cars led to the discovery of electric vehicles. But we assume that this electric vehicle does have a significant difference. Moreover, we believe that the electric cars are actually helping the current situation and cause various positive impact. We do believe that it is necessary to having this collaboration between transportation and technology. So before moving ahead to our justification, let's move to my first point of rebuttal. So my first point of rebuttal is, if we talk about the environment, isn't global warming caused by gas emission from the gasoline car, not from the electric car? Precisely, electric cars that can reduce the emission because they are environmentally friendly. So for the point of justification from the first speaker of government is not really, I'm not agree with that point of justification. Next, for my point of rebuttal is, then for the second point, the simulation that they say is an assumption, ladies and gentlemen. Then the one that say that this will force developing countries, we strongly disagree because they not explain from which side this electric car changed them. So now let's move to my first point of justification, ladies and gentlemen. My first point of justification is the evolution of this electric vehicle will be followed by technological developments that ensure security and promote environmental friendly vehicle. In automatic vehicle technology, cars can drive with little or no assistance, human control. The car is integrated with hardware and software, in which an intelligent system is programmed and embed autonomous vehicle or automate vehicle, combine a wide variety of sensor, as well as analyze the sensor data, which can detect undistinguished object in the environment around the vehicle. From the result of the data analysis, the car can distinguish objects such as human or pedestrians or other objects in the vicinity to avoid unwanted accidents. Method autonomous vehicle control arrangement using hardware and software integrating, which utilizes artificial intelligence system algorithms in the form of machine learning and deep learning, so that the system can learn and study various objects and facial behavior at various conditions. Given that a lot of software is difficult to use and there is little to learn, there are several software that have been deemed capable of meeting the needs of car system automation. For the example, ladies and gentlemen, the development of an electric car is also followed by the development of security, which will support the positive side of electric cars. This can be seen with the auto car system, so that it will reduce the number of traffic accidents. This is proof that transportation and technology can work together, ladies and gentlemen, to improve people's life. Besides, using auto-drive, electric cars also have features such as sensor, cameras, radar, lidar, and ultrasonic. The discussion of sensor technology is only focused on a few environmental sensors around the vehicle, like radar, lidar, ultrasonic, and camera, which are used as a tool in detecting objects around the car with a certain distance for the application of automatic vehicle. And when we talk about environmental friendly vehicle, ladies and gentlemen, in other countries where the source of electric energy is more diverse, electric cars are claimed to be able to reduce pollution significantly. As in France and Sweden, using electric cars can reduce pollution by up to 70%, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, in the UK, the use of environmental up by 30%, ladies and gentlemen. This happens because the country used nuclear and several other energy sources as a component in electricity generation, ladies and gentlemen. The research also conclude that 95% of the Earth's area will be greener with the use of electric vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, the use of electric cars is considered an important instrument for the achievement of blue sky. This research also projects that by 2050, the majority of vehicles on the road will be electric vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. And now let's move to my second point of justification. It will be an initial step toward industrial revolution because in the end of the day, everything will use electricity as a source. The government is very serious in encouraging the development of electric car technology industry. One of the ways is by providing incentives to industry in order to accelerate the program electric vehicle, or in Indonesia is called a KBL, or battery base. This is stated in Presidential Decree number 55/2019, atau bisa in Indonesia Peraturan Presiden nomor 55 tahun 2019 regarding the acceleration of battery based KBL program for road transportation. The incentive referred to include, among others, incentive for important duties and important battery-based KBL, called completely known down or incompletely knocked down, or component primary for a certain amount and a period of time. Other incentive can also be in the form of sales tax incentive. On luxury goods, or PPNBM, namely exemption or a reduction of central and region tax, import duty, importation of machinery, goods and material for investment purpose, suspension of import duty, export framework, and import duty incentive. So by this, ladies and gentlemen, electricity-based KBL, and development of industrial sector operational security. Lastly, there are incentive, fiscal and non-fiscal addition to the nationally bred KBL industry. So the government is committed to developing a transportation energy system, which leads to an electric-based vehicle policy. This underlies the government's commitment for the transition of conventional vehicle to KBL, all electricity vehicle, due to new technology for transportation energy. With the support of the government, which states the existence of the presidential regulation, is proof that Indonesian government is ready to start a new step, one step further towards a country with electricity research. So by this point, by these 2 points of justification, ladies and gentlemen, we can conclude that the first point is really helpful for the environmental friendly vehicle, and also it can increase the technology development. So this is mean that technology and transportation can be mixed. Both of them can help people lives become easier. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech. And now, to continue the case of the propositions, I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister. And do not forget to turn on your camera. Thank you.
Okay. Audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I will start my argument in 3, 2, 1. First thing first, I'm as the second speaker from the affirmative team. I will give my rebuttals toward my opponent team's argument. First, she said that with these electric cars is with technology development, which is use unmanned technology. But we think in such technology also exists in combustion car. So what's the difference? Second, traffic accident can be stopped by increasing people awareness. And third, unmanned technology also increases our dependency to technology. Second, once technology is down, we could not do anything. Our infrastructure is not really enough, so we know that the our condition of our road is very bad. Even in the non-big cities, like in road on village, is really worse. It's a nonsense idea, I think, to our current condition. And second, you said that it will become initial to change industrial revolution, but this electric vehicle is just creating carbon production through the pollution behind the manufacturing process of their batteries. There is indeed a range of rare earth metals that make up the composition of the battery, and their extraction and manipulation can contribute to carbon emissions. However, as 2019 International Council on Clean Transportation, or ICTT, report that the country in which the batteries are being produced as well as the battery composition has a much higher level of impact on emissions. So come to my first argument, that the increasing number of electric vehicles, the use of rare elements such as lithium and cobalt. Why are electric expensive? Because one of the components that make the vehicle expensive is the battery. Battery prices can reach more than 30% of the entire cost for one electric car. That means if the price of the battery can be reduced, then the price of an electric car can also be significantly reduced. Batteries are also a core component of electric cars. Then why can the price of batteries can be so expensive? That's because the constituent components that are in it. The most expensive component in each cell is the cathode, one of two electrodes that store and release electrical energy. These rare materials to be mined, processed, and converted into chemical compounds with a high degree of purity. The rare materials needed in the cathode are expensive raw materials like cobalt, nickel, lithium, and that currently electric cars sold are complete import from foreign manufacturers that make the price of this car expensive. Many Indonesian consumers are still unable to reach the electric cars. The market price is still very high, ranging from 450 million rupiah even to 1 billion rupiah. So because this problem, electric vehicles are only affordable for wealthy family. The treatment for government toward eco-friendly transportation is the government giving tax credit toward the ownership of electric vehicle to attract society interest to use electric vehicle. But ladies and gentlemen, it has been given incentive for exemption of import duties or PPNBM or luxury sales tax and transfer of motor vehicle title fee have not been able to drop below 100 million rupiah. And these tax credits will not be enjoyed by the wealthy one because they do not need it. The worst condition happens because the gap between the poor family and wealthy family becomes bigger. This electric vehicle will be upcoming trends, but some people doesn't have same condition and capabilities to reach the standard. Come to my second argument. We know that the production of electric cars in Indonesia hasn't fully realized. There are still many things that the government in Indonesia must prepare, such as the amount of manganese. That's a rare element, has some characteristics like it's a limited resources hidden in the deep part of the earth and owned by only big mining company. This is a dangerous everyone because these elements aren't renewable, so that it will be lead to scarcity because it is hidden. We need to dig the earth and possibly damage and break the nature. The access to gain the element is controlled by certain entities such as private companies. Because the electric vehicles will be popular in the future, the demand will also increase. When the demand increases, but the element is rare, the prices will be fluctuated. In the worst scenario, the limited amount of element can lead to problem that's monopoly. The monopoly will be bad because the element is used for public necessity, that's transportation. Third, as I said at my first argument, that the production of electric requires high technology, making this price quite expensive compared to conventional cars, including for the Indonesian market. Until now, electric cars circulating on the street are also still import completely knocked down, which makes the infrastructure that needs the support from many stakeholders. And of course, education to our society about electric vehicle itself. So in our current situation, with a small number of the electrical enthusiasts certainly have an impact to the decrease in the production rate of electric cars and impact on their workers. The production of electric vehicle decreases the need of worker into 40%, and it will be worse because of our current condition, which is in the middle of pandemic. The job vacancy is decreasing. The situations get worse because some workers must work under the system of outsourcing. They will only work temporarily based on the contract that they sign. When the production of the electric vehicle is started, there will be a declining amount of workers. It will lead to the case on and it's not good because some workers will lose their occupation. So my three arguments. Our team believe that this kind of vehicles, that electric vehicles, is not ready enough to be get employed in our countries, in Indonesia, because there's a lot of things that we must to prepare, like itself, the pollution problem itself, and about production itself. So that's why we oppose this motion. Thank you.
Thank the speaker for the speech. And now to continue the case of the oppositions, I call upon Deputy Leader of Oppositions.
Sorry, audible? Okay, I will start my speech again. 3, 2, 1. In this case, I strongly disagree that electric vehicles have a lot of bad impact in terms of their goodness with on the basis of this progress that can take us to a very modern era and make a human life more advanced and live with many shortcomings. I'm still confused as to why the opposition team still say that electric vehicles have many disadvantages, that their advantage even though in the fact this electric vehicle has many advantages, not only from environmentally friendly field as well. Therefore, I strongly agree that in this case, electric vehicles are better than ordinary vehicles and have very little harm, ladies and gentlemen. Before I move to my point of justification, I want to rebuttal from the from the government team said that the component of electric vehicle are very expensive and very costly. But in fact, we can see that electric vehicle are very cheap and very affordable to maintain. Precisely, the vehicle we use today are very expensive component and very expensive to maintain. And in and this is and this is and this is this and this is where I will discuss in my point of justification. And I do not agree with the government team that they say this is more expensive. Yang what I say in my first rebuttal. So have they are currently using, indeed they already know the price now, and the brand already know whether they have accompanied by the price or not. In the fact, in this case, the electric vehicle has a lot of advantage because it is very eco-friendly and can make the earth even better, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I want to move my point of justification with three layers. Electric car have more advantage than gasoline car. Like what I said at the beginning, I spoke that basically the electric vehicle has a very good advantage over the gasoline car, which is a new breakthrough that has been planned for a long time ago that has been thought very carefully by experts. From that, I strongly disagree that electric vehicle has more harm than good. And here I will discuss the advantage of electric vehicle with three layers. For one layer is affordable. In this case, I strongly agree that electric vehicle have very cheap, easy, and efficient maintenance, where this vehicle can be very affordable to anyone. The point is that is the affordable here is that anyone who has an electrical car will be not burdened with its maintenance. We take example of a vehicle that we use a lot now. We have about a price that is not cheap. Then we have to do continue maintenance every month, and we have to change the oil, pay attention to the engine, and if we fill the wrong type of gasoline, will damage the engine of the vehicle. But what if we use an electric vehicle to be more precise? This electric car will be more affordable in terms of maintenance. We do not to change the oil every month, and we don't have to worry about wrong refueling because it is the charging station or at home is not a charging accordingly. It will not charge the electric vehicle. It will not causes and main function in the vehicle battery or engine, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore I strongly disagree that from the government team they say this is a worse and not a good, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I want to move my second layer is less noise. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case, we know that electric cars are very quiet, which is where use them every day will reduce what is called noise pollution, which is we know in effect now there is many and more pollution noises everywhere, and this will make a deep driving uncomfortable and uncomfortable, which will definitely disrupt pedestrians. But now we have a new breakthrough, namely an electric vehicle with the least sound, not even silent noise. And if we use this new breakthrough continuously and we implement this in a public transportation where this will be made factor for comfortable and less distracting during the trip. And imagine if it's a very extraordinary, breakthrough is very extraordinary for the future, for our future and the field of a transportation. Let me give you an example, ladies and gentlemen. Try imagine if you own if in our own are not disturbed by the sound of vehicle, and imagine you are using public transportation, and with electric vehicle you come home from work or study with a tired body and arrive at public transportation, it's not noisy at all. It is not that it's a very comfortable, and it can you feel at home. That's why I don't agree the electric vehicle are more harm than good, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I want to move my third layer. Electric car have less masonry problem than gasoline car. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case, as I said in the first layer, that is a very easy to maintain and basic that, and it is also very rare for damage to occur in electric vehicle because of what? Because in this case, we use electric power which rarely get damaged in the machine and can make us more economical and more comfortable in driving. I know the government definitely disagree with this because they only think about the bad things, which even though in principle this is a new bridge talk, which will make it easier, more efficient in our long-term transportation life. Let me give you an example. If you have spend money to buying a car, then added the maintenance that are very often occurs because your engine is often damaged, and plus you pay a tax. It's not a very large expense. While you can buy an electric car and with a little damage, it's in the engine of an electric vehicle. Instead of that, it will get a better and will save you in the financial fit, right? Therefore, I agree more that this electric vehicle has many advantages in terms of its ugliness. Thank you. I'm very proud to propose.
I thank the speaker for the speech. And now to close the case of the government, I call upon the third speaker of the government side.
I'm sorry, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today I will give some responses to my opponent teams and rebuild my own team point. Okay, come to my rebuttals. The opposition said that the electric vehicle has many advantages, which is it affordable. I think it's no. Not all of our society can afford this electric vehicle car. You know that the opposition the price of repairment of an electric vehicle is cheaper than the combustible vehicle. Yeah, I do believe with that, but that the start of buying the electric vehicle is very pricey, that not all of our society cannot afford that. Also, the change of oil into electricity, because the electricity in our country is mostly generated by oil and coal, so that the pollution is still exists after the make of the battery or etc. So the opposition also said that the electric cars is having less noise. But ladies and gentlemen, it could be less dangerous, because less noise can lead to accident, which is very dangerous. Our in status quo right now, our country asks motorcycle to turn on light to avoid accident. The electric car is having less noise, but it is very dangerous. It is not an advantage. People with people will uh, strongly cannot detect the movement of the electric vehicle because it is have no sound at all. So the opposition also said that technology development is also exists. So the technology development, so the opposition said that the electric car is bring more good because of the technology development. But ladies and gentlemen, the technology development is also exists in combustible car. So in our government program, we remove the premium, which is having which is having less number of octane. So in status quo right now, the the fuel in that exists in our country is having high number of octane. So the pollution is decreased quite high enough because of the efficiency of the combustible car. So it is clear that we have to propose the motion because a lot of factor. First is electric vehicle is harmful to environment because of the battery, which is not renewable. That the no that the residual is hazardous for our environment. Also, the process of making battery is it also contributes carbon to global warming. In status quo right now, all countries is having their own efforts to minimize the global warming, three, to reduce the plastic use, also make agreement between developing and developed country to reduce carbon trading. Also, electric vehicle is consume more energy because people in this modern era is having high mobilization, also having high number of private vehicle. The case become worsen in developing country because it is overpopulated, and mostly the electricity is generated by coal.
Hello? I think you are mute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. The increasing of electric vehicle is could lead to requirement of element because it is limited, hidden, because it available hidden in the deep of the earth, and the mining is only owned by a big company. Because you know that this electric vehicle will be popular in the future, so it is could be lead to a scarcity because the rarity of the element. So because of that, the price will be fluctuated in the worsened situation, can lead to problem of monopoly. Also, electric vehicles are not affordable for wealthy family because as I said before, the of afford electric vehicle is very high, even though the price of the price of repairment is very cheap. Also, also, also the electric vehicle is of worker into 400 into 40%. Also, it is pandemic situation, and also it is worsened by the outsourcing system that could lead to unemployment, that some workers will lose their occupation. And if poor people buy electricity vehicle, they will try to borrow money. This could lead to a serious problem, which is the 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 poor people cannot finish the payment, and the car will be taken the bank or related stakeholders. And by those factor, we are propose this motion. I think enough.
I thank the speaker for the speech, and to close the case of the oppositions, I call upon the third speaker of the opposition side.
I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, technology today has become a common thing for society because almost every time and every day we take an advantage of the use of the technology. With the time as well, technology has become a very important thing in life because now we are very dependent on technology. We can see how technological developments have profoundly affected our lives. But if we connect this technology into a case where electric vehicles bring more harm than good, I, as the third speaker of the opposition team, would like to deliver some of my team's argument. But before we go into that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give some rebuttals of some of the opposition of some of the government team's argument. The first one is that your speaker said that consume more electricity. Now, we strongly disagree because electricity is such an inexhaustible resources where that we can get it without harming our beloved Earth. We can get it from the sun, use solar panels, use turbines installed in reservoirs. But if you support the gasoline car is more environmentally friendly, no, that is totally wrong. Because what? Because to get the fuel from the gasoline car, we have to drill very deeply down into the ground with down into the ground to earth, then this will give a very bad impact and future disaster into our beloved earth. That is in the and then move to the second one. In the government's same argument, they always emphasize about how the electric vehicles bring more harm than to the environment than the gasoline cars, but somehow they cannot mention how they would overcome the problem of by the in the but by moving to the electric vehicles rather than the gasoline one, because vehicles provide more good, no pollution, no air pollution, affordable, and much more safer. And you said that to move into what we know as Pertamax, but still produce carbon emission. And due to that fact, what we need is to move to the electric vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. And move to the third one. One of your speakers said that with the development of technology, we'll only increase our dependency on technology. No, we really disagree with this, because we cannot deny that our life nowadays is almost all supported by the technology, where the situation that we are going through now, also because of the technology, ladies and gentlemen, we can overcome the problems that previously could not be overcome by the development of technology. For example, with this pandemic, we can still carry out, several activities such as this debating competition, because the technology of developments, ladies and gentlemen. And move to the fourth one. If you say that electric vehicles are very expensive, let's try to relate to the current situation where a lot of gasoline vehicles that been afforded by people. There will be a lot of gas vehicles on the road, so this will add to the problem, to the air pollution, where what we know as the carbon emission will only more widespread, ladies and gentlemen, and this will only add to the problem in the air pollution. But for electric vehicles, those people who can afford, they can move into a public transportation, and we believe it's much more better than with the case of a flood of vehicles everywhere, gasoline vehicles everywhere along the road. And the fifth one is, if electric vehicle is very expensive, because I think we believe that we need time to progress, because long time ago, only a wealthy family who can afford car like, for example, like Avanza and any other cars, but now most people have it. This shows you that our people need to progress, we need to elevate their economic health. Afterwards, in years later, I believe that it is possible that our people can afford it. Okay, so by saying those, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to move to my point of justification. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some points that I would like to deliver. The first one is that me and my team believe that the evolution of this electric vehicle is will also followed by the technological developments that ensure security and promote environmental friendly vehicle, which I'm going to explain later. And the second one is electric car have more advantage than the gasoline car. Okay, so now let's move to my first explanation. We believe that the evolution of these electric vehicles will also be followed by technology development to ensure that security and promote environmental friendly. Because, ladies and gentlemen, because the technological developments that we feel right now in terms of technology development, especially in the transportation and IT sector, me and my team strongly believe that with the development of electric vehicles, this thing will be followed by the IT developments, and that can support advantage over electric vehicles. Let's take an example of this thing will be applied to development of electric cars. There is already a company in America called the Tesla Corporation. They develop an electric car that is supported by millions of other supporting features such as navigation and safety features. As we can see nowadays, Tesla company developed an electric power car equipped with auto drives, where the car is equipped with a navigation system and sensors, so that the car can run alone without being driven by the driver. It is also a breakthrough in developing safe transportation, because if we quote from the research that was conducted in the past, ladies and gentlemen, the majority of road accidents are due to the human errors. Because let's try to imagine. There's someone driving in the state of sleepiness and drunkenness. They're drunk and sleepy. This is very consequential. There's someone is driving in sleepy or a drunk state. This will this is very fatal to the safety, both for the driver and other drivers. But with the development of the electric cars that are supported by the other IT developments, my team will strongly believe that this is the key. This is the key to reducing the number of road accidents, especially in our country, which also will benefit to the country indirectly, because the rate of the number of the traffic accidents can be pressed. And by saying those, ladies and gentlemen, I would like also to explain our second arguments, that electric car have more advantage than the gasoline car. How this thing will be explained? Okay, so unlike natural gas vehicles, electrical vehicles gives more advantage rather than gasoline vehicles, such as cars. Let's take an example of cars. If we look from the transportation aspect, there will be many advantages that can be given by the gasoline car, such as electric vehicles, or we can say an electric car is more affordable than the gasoline car, because in terms of usage, ladies and gentlemen, electric engines really have a problem compared to the gasoline cars. where for the use of the gasoline cars, they have to spend a lot of money for the repeated maintenance, ladies and gentlemen. But in terms of environmental friendly, my team speaker also already mentioned for you all that electric cars is less noise. So this thing can be more environmental friendly and can reduce the problems of some problems that arise from the gasoline car to the environment, such as noise pollution, air pollution, carbon emission pollution. So this will also be an steps towards industrial revolution, ladies and gentlemen. Because at the end of the day, everything will use electricity as a source because electrical energy is much more easier to obtain without harming the environment. So without harming the environments and drilling the hole through the earth and etc. So we as the opposition team really disagree. We thought about the case where electric vehicles bring more harm than good, because what else we have to doubt? I mean, even our government also fully supports with the development of electric vehicles. So we as the opposition team strongly believe that the key to ending all of this problem to the environmental, both to the environmental and technology, is to move to electric vehicles. Thank you.
I thank the speaker for the speech, and now I call upon the reply speaker of the opposition's team to conclude their case.
Thank you for the opportunities. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, transportation is one of the important things in movement peoples and good. This transportation has long been used to relieve humans. To make it easier, transportation continues to develop so that everything is more efficient. Initially, transportation was in a form of wood carving and developed into processed iron, which we use until now. But it did not stop there, ladies and gentlemen. The concern about the losses caused by gasoline-fueled cars led to the discovery of electric vehicle. But we assume that this electric vehicle does have a significant difference, ladies and gentlemen. Moreover, we believe the electric cars actually help the current situation and cause various positive impact. We do believe that it's necessary to having this new collaboration between transportation and technology. To support our statement, we have 4 points of justification. The first is the evolution of this electric vehicle will be followed by technological developments that ensure security and promote environmental friendly vehicle. And the second is that it will be an initial step toward industrial revolution, because in the end of the day, everything will use electricity as a source. And the third is electric car have more advantage than a gasoline cars. And after talking about the statement that supports our material, but the point of the first speaker of government talk about environmental, which it doesn't make sense, ladies and gentlemen, because in fact, isn't global warming caused by gas emission from the gasoline car, not from the electric car? Precisely, electric cars that can reduce this emission because they are environmentally friendly, ladies and gentlemen. The government team cannot explain how electric car becomes worse than the conventional car. In fact, they know that conventional car is really bring more harm than good in environmental, ladies and gentlemen. This is how that they cannot admit the conventional is worse than electricity. Then for the second point, the simulation that is said is an assumption, ladies and gentlemen. Then the one that say that this will force developing countries, we strongly disagree, because they not explain from which side this electric car change them. They just saying this movement and how people moving with cars. This doesn't make sense, ladies and gentlemen. And for the second speaker, they say electric car will spend more money rather than the conventional. If electric vehicle is expensive, we say because we need time to progress. Like my third speaker say that long time ago, only wealthy family who can afford a car, ladies and gentlemen. Now most people have it. Everything in the process, ladies and gentlemen. We really believe this is show you that our people needs to progress, need to elevate the economic, health, and afterwards, in years later, it is possible that our people can afford it. So there is no reason to say will pay more money than a conventional car. This is a very disappointing thing, because by focusing on the source, the money, which that doesn't true, because it's just an assumption, and in fact the source is resourceable, ladies and gentlemen. The argument is not come from strong research, and we count it as an assumption. They also said that point of least noise become dangerous, which my team already said that this electric car is accompanied with the sensor of technology that can reduce the accidents, ladies and gentlemen. So by my last stage, we beg you to oppose the electric vehicle bring more harm than good, and we believe that we deserve to win this debate. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech, and to close this debate, I call upon the reply speaker of the propositions team.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1. As the reply speaker of the government team, I would like to compare what we have performed, and I would like to discuss and show to the educators that we actually deserve to win over the negative team. Our opponent team just show us the advantage of the electric vehicle without talk about the other stakeholder. There is one big clashing point that happened on this debate. That is whether or not the electrical vehicle is environmentally friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe if the electrical vehicle is more dangerous than the coal and the fossil fuel, that the electrical vehicle is so dangerous that the type of the dangerous material, all of this battery, will have a negative impact when polluting and when pollution and the environment. It could be dangerous to the plant and subsequently enter the food chain, and the other impact such as cellulose, when the continental poisoning high load the pressure, and already even there is a bad again will occur in the hallucination, forgetfulness, and never portioning. It proved that the battery is more dangerous than coal. Then coal it seems that the coal it maybe seems like a smoke, but the battery maybe not seem clearly like a smoke like coal products, but it doesn't mean that it's not dangerous. The burden proof that my opponents could not answer: how will electrical vehicles be more friendly to the current combustion car? Because all of I heard that the argument of the opponent team just show us the advantage of the electrical car, that like the speed, the acceleration, and something of that, but they could not tell us how will electrical vehicle be more friendly to our environment. Because in this status quo right now, our environment is getting worse day by day, and we want the answer what is the more friendly vehicle, so we can set in motion that the effect of the electrical vehicles to all of the stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, the negative could not answer how they would solve the bad problem of electrical vehicle, such as the battery consumption, that make cause carbon, and the second is electricity use oil in its production. That means they just create the pollution in another form. And the third is technology development. They said about the technology development. They try to lie to the people by saying that pollution. However, the bad effect comes from the carbon production. Team is a negative team could solve the problem of the possible monopoly of rail element. We try to say that we still try to save environment by still considering the technology development of the society. And they said if you were asleep, and they said if you were sleepy, you could drive to electric vehicle. But the solution is, if you are sleepy, then you have to take a rest. We could not rely on the technology to correct our mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, so with this, I would say the negative team could the negative team. So this is wrong. That I believe that our team is better than the negative team, and we deserve to win. I think that's enough for me. Thank you.
All right, so I thank everyone. I thank all the speakers for finishing this debate. And now it is the time for the judges to do deliberations. So um please, all the debaters stay here, stay in this room. I think the judges will going to use the WhatsApp call to do deliberations. So in the meantime, you can do chit chat with your opponent, or you can do whatever you want with in this breakout room. But please stay here and do not leave this meeting yet. Yeah, I think that's all. So for the judge, I will contact you on WhatsApp immediately.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
please.